Yo, what is going on, homies? It's your boy Stumped back for another OPTC video, and in today's video we're diving back into the 10-star event against the new KIZUNA Clash that will be coming out on the 25th of May, taking on Goldie Roger. Now, if you guys didn't check out the previous video, I will leave a link in the description below for you guys. We did like a one-team versus all, and I did a whole bunch of different variations for you guys to take down the 10-star event with a one team that beats all, that does use the new KIZUNA rare recruits, doesn't use the new KIZUNA rare recruits, uses some of the new legends, doesn't use the new legends. But in today's video, we're going to be diving back into the 10-star events and taking a look at the big damage teams. So with this being a super boss KIZUNA, you're going to get to those very high KIZUNA levels, and you're going to need some very high damage teams to take down this particular event come the back end of KIZUNA. So I do want to reiterate at the start of this video, these teams are not free-to-play friendly. Unfortunately, when it comes to big damage, free-to-play friendly and big damage, they just don't go in the same sentence together. If you guys would like to see some free-to-play friendly teams, let me know in the comment section below. I'd be more obliged. I know the homie Toadski, he does a free-to-play guide every single KIZUNA, so maybe go check the king out if you want to do that. But if you guys want me to do one too, I'm more than happy to oblige. Let me know in the comment section below. While you're down there though, don't forget to hit the like button. If you're new, you haven't done so already, hit that big red subscribe button. So, let's take a look at the quick 10-star event. Huge shout out to the Twitter for the infographic. Link will be in the description for that as well. But the quick 10-star event, your strength and your dex characters get cooldowns, as well as special super switch as well, which is nice. On stage 2, you get 8 turns of despair. On the boss stage, you get block orbs, 5 turns of paralysis. Your middle row gets special blinded, as well as getting it only said for 1 turn, which is kind of weird. I thought it would be for 5 turns. I think that's meant to be 5 turns. Or it might be special rewind. That might be special rewind and not special bind. That might make a little bit more sense. But from what I've been told, the infographic might be a little bit off. So, it does say special bind for 1 turn for the middle and bottom row. But because it has the special turn lock for the middle and bottom row, it makes me believe that it's meant to be a special reverse by 1 turn. So, we'll have to wait and see when we actually get that infographic. But nevertheless, the captain that we have for this particular fight will actually get around both, and we have a way of getting around both of them anyway. So, when you get over level 30, your paralysis, you get paralyzed. Your paralysis increases by 1 turn, so you become 6 turns of paralysis. And the special bind, I do think that's meant to be special reverse, will actually get increased to 2 turns. So, that's what happens. So, taking a look at the first team that I've built for you guys, we are utilizing the KIZUNA rare recruits, as well as a friend captain Whitebeard. The first team that you will see for each variation does use the booster still, and then the next team is going to be like the big damage that doesn't rely on them at all. So with AC Yamato, we have a special bind removal in that kit, so if it is special bind, we can get around that. But they're our attack booster. They get their super switch as well, which gives them a 2.5 times chain lock boundary, going upwards. They're also our attack booster and our affinity booster, our conditional booster for this particular team as well. So they're very, very good, very strong unit. If it is special reverse for 2 turns, then their special actually gives 2 turns of cooldown as well. If it's not special bind for this particular team, you can actually do something like this, because Luffy's super type, or super class I should say, sorry, and then his special will give 2 turns of cooldown as well. The thing is, they kind of want you to use Luffy's special on stage 2 to remove the despair. So for my particular team comp, I've sort of kept it this way, so that way you can save the Luffy special for the final stage. To get around the despair on stage 2, we actually have this particular carrot that came out with Sober Mask and Luffy and Zoro. She can remove 3 turns of despair, and she gives you color affinity on this turn, and then if you hit 3 perfects, she gives you color affinity for your free spirit characters moving into the next turn. So she's also going to be our free spirit color affinity booster for the final stage as well. With the Pedro support, you can get around 5 turns of despair, which is enough with your sockets. If you don't have that Pedro, you can use something like Rayleigh on Luffy. That should work absolutely hunky-dory as well. But Luffy, he's going to be our orb manipulator. He is our orb booster. And with the Sabo support, he gets an extra 1.5 times base stats, which is a lot of extra damage. It's a lot of extra damage. But, as I mentioned, if you did want to, you could easily do something like this, and then replace the carrot with someone that can remove 5 turns of despair, or 3 turns with the support. And that way, if it's a Straw Hat, you'll also get access to Luffy's base stat boost. So you'll need to find a way to make it a Straw Hat, so that way you can use the super class. Nevertheless, this will work absolutely fine as well. Finally, we've got Whitebeard and Vista, the two KIZUNA rare recruits. Whitebeard on this team doesn't really do too much. He gives us Chain Boundary, which is kind of nice, but that's basically all he does for this particular team. He doesn't do anything else. The Vista, he can increase the attack boost that Ace Yamato can provide. He also rotates block orbs, so that's another option for you guys there, but nevertheless, they're basically just here to increase your Super Boss token. So that team is going to sort of like slide in once the one team versus all starts to struggle a little bit. But then we can take a look at this big damage team. Now, this particular team uses a friend captain Straw Hat Crew V2, the Mugiwara 56, the Mugiwara V2 Straw Hats with a final tap level 5 will do a lot of damage. But this Luffy as our captain with his super class and his special, you can actually get around the special reverse, which I do believe will be 2 turns from what we can see. But if it is special binds, we have the support of the new, well, not the new, but the support Sabo, who's actually on the support banner right now. He can remove 2 turns of special bind on the final stage, and then this particular Sanji can remove 5 turns. There is also paralysis on the final turn as well. There is 6 turns of paralysis. Now that I'm thinking about it, oh yeah, this Vista actually removes 6 turns of paralysis, so I take that back. He actually does do something. To get around the paralysis for this team, though, we do have the Sanji with the chopper support. Sanji's going to be our chain booster as well. Zoro is a color affinity booster, and he also satisfies the super tandem mechanic for Luffy. Then we've got Yamato and Ace once again. Yamato and Ace, they can give special reverse, but they're basically just here for the conditional, the attack boost, and the chain boundary, which is really, really nice. And then finally we got Brook. Now, Brook really doesn't do anything on this team besides being a boosted unit. He has 1.5 times base boosted stats, so he's hitting pretty hard. And then with like Whitebeard, Pedro, Chopper support, we can get around all the paralysis, we can get around the special bind if there is special bind. We can also get around the 5 turns of despair that does get inflicted on stage 2 thanks to Whitebeard and Pedro. With the Straw Hat V2, final tap level 5, it's just going to multiply all that damage by 2, and this team is going to hit very, very hard. So that's the team against Quick. Let's take a look at the next variation now. Against Dex. Against Dex, your Free Spirit and Striker characters get their special charges, as well as their super switches. On stage 2, there is 5 turns of defense up, and on the final stage, you get recovery orbs that are made unfavorable, 5 turns of attack down, and a attack down if your chain multiplier is below 2.5 for 5 turns. When you hit level 30 and above, or the boss's HP hits a certain threshold, so level 30 is usually when that happens, there's another 5 turns of attack down. So 10 turns of attack down that you need to get around, which is a little bit annoying. But if you do have the new Whitebeard, he can actually remove 6 turns of that. As a friend captain, he's a 5.25 times captain to Dex, Free Spirit, and Strikers. So he's going to be our friend captain here as well. He can also remove Threshold. For this stage, it's not that great, but he gives a chain boundary because our captain is a striker, which is very, very nice. Kaido, he's our captain. He's going to be our Unga Bunga Wunga. Now, I do have my Kaido at level 4 Super Tandem. So for this particular team to get the Super Tandem off, you do need it to be level 4. But nevertheless, it's not going to matter too much until we look at the big damage team anyway. So with Kaido as our captain, we can get access to the super class because we are using Queen. Queen is going to remove the defense up on stage 2, as well as having the base stat boost on that stage as well. But he has a very good Sailor ability, which gives him like a tandem slot, and then he gives him the resilience, so then Kaido is hitting actually very, very hard, and so his Strikers getting an extra 10% with the resilience debuff. So that works quite nicely. We have Whitey Bay on our Ace Yamato. Again, they are going to be our attack booster. Unfortunately, they're not doing anything else for this team because we are relying on Kaido's conditional with the double, like the extra damage, and then his final tandem. With this particular team, the final characters that will be hitting last are probably the 2 Whitebeards, or even like the Ace Yamato is going to be hitting very, very hard as well. I think the Whitebeards are probably hitting the hardest. They also have type advantage. But the thing is, I couldn't really find a striker to get on, to put on here. I think actually page 1. No, so there's an X-Drake. There's actually an X-Drake here. This one here does rainbow color affinity, so that actually might work a little bit better. He's free to play too. Vista, I'm not actually 100% sure what Vista does here. He rotates unfavorable slots, like recovery slots, so that's pretty much what he's here for. But he'll also increase that attack boost again to make it a 3 times attack boost, which is great. But with the super class of Kaido, we are going to be absolutely hunky-dory. And with a friend Whitebeard, you're still going to be getting a lot of points. Looking at the big damage team now, though, this one's a little bit interesting because we are going to be using a waifu as our friend captain, the new Nami, Robin, and Boa. They're going to be our color affinity booster, as well as removing 8 turns of attack down, which is really, really nice. Then with Tashigi on our Straw Hat crew, we can remove the other 2, and that's our 10 turns, easy peasy, hunky dory. Then we've got Ace Yamato once again, and I have put X-Drake here. Now, I'm not 100% sure if X-Drake's going to do more damage. If you have X-Drake, you can always try it. X-Drake is a lower attack booster, but he gives a much higher chain boundary at 2 point. Instead of 2.5, he gives the 3 times. Now, Ace Yamato, you don't need their conditional because of Kaido, but I'm just not 100% sure which will do better. I'm going to try Ace Yamato first because they have double stats, so they're going to be hitting a little bit harder as well. And the idea of this particular team is you have the orb boost with Kaido, you have the extra damage with Kaido, you have the super class, so you have Wano orbs, and you've given a tandem slot to Jack. Because you have Queen and Jack, it doesn't matter what level your Kaido is, you are going to be able to get that super tandem effect, which allows you to get, like, what, a 2.25 extra, something ridiculous, or extra 0.5 to your, like, the extra damage. So, like, you can do a lot of damage with Kaido. So, basically, start the chain with Kaido. Remember, you're getting double damage with your Jack and your Queen as well. So, you do actually want to hit with them after Kaido. I do have the Shoutout support as well. I'm actually going to put the Shoutout support on Queen, because I'm going to hit with him after Jack, because Jack increases the chain multiplier. So, I think that means that Queen is just going to hit a little bit harder than what Jack would. So, we'll put the Shoutout support on. Actually, no, we're not, because Shoutout is actually going to proc on the stage before that, and we actually don't want that to happen. We want that on the final stage, so we definitely want to put that on Jack. I take that back. We have an attack boost with Ace Yamato once again. We have the final tap level 5 with the Mugiwara, and if you don't have this final tap, don't stress, just replace them with maybe something like Toki. Toki would work really, really well here instead of the Straw Hat crew, and then you could use something like Page 1 on Kaido to remove the rest of the attack down, so it'll all work very nicely. 2.75 times orbs, 2.75 times attack, 2.75 color affinity, 1.3 chain boost because of Jack's Sailor ability. You'll have that resilience debuff as well, and then Kaido is hitting ridiculously hard with his super tandem as well. So this team should do a lot of damage, and I'm really excited to see what it can do. On to the final variation now. Alright, so the final variation is against the Int variation, and Dex and Psi characters get their cooldowns, as well as their super swaps, which is quite nice. You get 5 turns of Special Bind on stage 2, and on the boss stage, you get a full board of unfavorable slots. There is Threshold for 5 turns, and 5 turns of Resilience. After level 30, the Threshold turns to 6 turns, and the Resilience turns to 6 turns as well. So, this is kind of the anomaly one, because we do only have 2 super bosses for this Kizuna, but we do have 3 10-star events. So let's take a look at the first team to take down the 10-star event. Utilizing the KIZUNA Rare Recruits led by Yamato. Yamato is a Free Spirit and a Striker booster, just like the Whitebeard is as well. So the combination of the two gives you a little bit of color affinity here. We're also going to get Wano Orbs with our girl Yamato, which is really, really nice, because she can rotate her your matching orbs into that. She also gives 1.3 chain buff, and then with her super typing, she can give the chain boundary, which is really, really cool too. The multiplier, apologies. And then if you hybrid her up with a friend Captain Whitebeard, Whitebeard can remove the threshold, as well as give you the chain like boundary as well. So the combination of the two works really, really nicely. Whitebeard also removes attack down, but no, so that's for the other stage. So Vista is going to rotate the unfavorable orbs into matching and remove the 6 turns of resilience. You can then use the Yamato special to turn them into Wano slots, but for this team, he's also our attack booster. We have a full Free Spirit / a team, which works quite nicely. We have the Rebecca, the Summertime Rebecca, to remove the Special Bind, as well as give us 3 turns of color affinity, so we can carry that into the next stage. And then finally, we have Kinemon Dendro. Now, if you want to, you could actually switch with Kinemon Dendro, and they will give you they'll give the slasher resistance. Now, that'll give 50% extra damage to Rebecca. But what you actually could do is you could actually switch them with them on turn 2, and then switch back into them on turn 3, just to get the 20%, so then they will get it, and Rebecca will get it as well. Plus, then you'll be hitting with color affinity with them as well, and that should do quite a bit of damage. With this, you have color affinity, you have an attack boost, you have 2.75 times orb boost, you have Wano orbs, you have a chain boost, you have a chain boundary, you have a chain multiplier. Like, pretty much the only thing you don't have is, like, a conditional boost. But with this particular event, you don't really have that option, because most of the time they do have full immunity. But if they don't have full immunity, Yamato will also give the 1.5 times extra damage. speaking of more damage, this is the big damage thing that I've put together for you guys. Now, funny enough, this particular team actually just still uses a friend Captain Whitebeard. Now, Whitebeard is a 5.25 times captain who is rainbow to, like, color affinity. So he's going to be hitting very, very hard. So, this team is led by Yamato once again. She's going to be the chain boost, the chain multiplier. She's going to work very, very nicely. And then we've actually got Whitebeard and Roger. Now, I actually recently rainbowed my Whitebeard and Roger. So I'm incredibly excited to actually test the damage numbers that this team can provide, because I do have them at final tap level 5. Now, the side variation is the only one that gets the cooldowns and gets the special swap. So the idea is on stage 2 to switch with them, and then to switch back into Whitebeard on the final stage. Odin's going to give them a Wano Orb too, which does a lot of damage. We have this Garp. He's a free spirit, so he's getting boosted, but he's not getting like all the buffs on the final stage. Basically, the reason we have this Garp here is he can remove the special bind, but he can also use the Suru support to give us 3 turns of end of turn damage. So that way, when we move into the final stage, we can actually get around the resilience. We have Law. Law's going to rotate all of those unfavorable orbs into matching, which is great. Whitebeard as a friend captain can remove the threshold, as well as give us a chain boundary as well. I think Law's chain boundary is a little bit better. So that's going to be quite nice. We are going to use Law's chain boundary. Get the orb buff from Law, and then use the Frankie special for the attack buff. Frankie's actually going to be an attack booster and an orb booster, so you need to make sure that you use Law first. Otherwise, Frankie will give you an orb buff too, and it's a bit odd because it won't give the orb buff to Whitebeard and Roger. So the idea is to get the Law orb buff first, because then you have that rainbow orbs. With Frankie, he gets a 2.5 times attack boost to fighter, slasher, shooter, and striker characters, which this whole team is, besides Garp. So you need to make sure that you're attacking with Garp first. He's going to start the chain boundary for you guys. But the big reason Garp's here is purely for the special one and that Suru support, which is going to work out quite nicely. Finally, we're going to wrap it up with the Whitebeard and Roger special. So switch back into Whitebeard. After you've done all these specials, make sure you do all of the specials first. Switch back into Whitebeard. Pop the Whitebeard special to turn the orb boost into a 3 times orb boost. And then you can get a 2... Is it 2 times or a 2.5 times? 2 times color affinity as well, which is going to be pretty nice. But the upside here is just to get that massive, like, the final tap of Whitebeard and Roger, just to hit ridiculously hard with a Wano slot as well. So, there you guys go. That's going to wrap up the video. These are the big damage teams. Let me know if you have any thoughts and opinions to make these teams a little bit stronger and hit a little bit harder in the comment section below. I'd love to know your thoughts and opinions. While you're down there, like I said, don't forget to belt the like button for me. If you are new or you haven't done so already, hit that big red subscribe button. But guys, wherever you are in this beautiful world, please remember to enjoy the rest of your day. As always, homies, I thank you for watching, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Later!